Good Tuesday morning, Mount Olive Church family and friends. Everybody joining us online. Another week of devotions here, and I'm going to get my screen pulled up. And wonderful message, Brother Tommy, Sunday. And I had to go back and listen online, and was away preaching in another church Sunday. And so missed being with you guys. And I always enjoy listening to Brother Tommy. I know I've said this before, but I'll say it again. And, even from the time I was a young man, and always loved hearing Brother Tommy preach. And I've got wrote down in my Bible, one of my older Bibles I wrote one time when on a Wednesday night, could listen to him teach all night. So appreciate him, and wonderful message that he brought Sunday. So I want to talk a little bit about Pastor Tommy's message, and I do still call him, he's our senior pastor, so I still call him Pastor Tommy. But and you can see, if you got it on the screen, you can see I've got, oh yes, he cares. And he used the scripture out of Mark, and I love that scripture of the storm. And I'm going to read those scriptures to you, and then I'll kind of tell you the thought that I got from listening to that message Sunday. In Mark chapter 4, verse 35, it says, the same day when evening was come, he saith unto them, let us pass over to the other side. And when they had sent away the multitude, they took him even as he was in the ship, and they were also with him other little ships. And there arose a great storm of wind, and the waves beat in the ship, so it was now full. And he was in the hinder part of the ship, asleep on a pillow. And they awake him and said unto him, Master, carest thou not that we perish? And he arose and rebuked the wind and said in the sea, peace, be still. And the wind ceased, and there was a great calm. The part I loved about that, and you can see in verse 38, and gosh, Tommy brought out so much about the storms, and it seems like that's something that God's always given me to preach on and share my message. Storms, a lot of that's kind of always tied in with a lot of my sermons that the Lord has shared with me. But that they get into this storm, and Jesus is asleep, and they say, Master, carest thou not that we perish? And I don't know if you all, I asked you that question, Dave. Have you ever asked that question? Have you ever said, Jesus, do you not care? Do you not care about what I'm going through? And especially when he talks about passing over, and that's kind of where I want to go with this just in a minute. And he cared about them. Number one, he cared about them because he took them with him. He went on the trip with them. And Tommy talked about people that are struggling, people that are weary, they're frightened, they're worn down, they're battling, they're going through something. And I don't know, maybe you're one of those people. You don't seem like, maybe everything's 100% bed of roses for you all the time. You keep a good smile on your face, and you just never face anything. And Tommy talked about Paul, and in Acts chapter 27, he wasn't doing anything wrong. He had appealed to Caesar, and he, that storm come upon him, and he gave him a chance to witness. And so a lot of times when we're going through that, it gives us that opportunity. But how many times do we question God, when we go through a battle? I shared with our youth group Sunday night, and talked to them a little bit about just some battles that I've been facing lately. I didn't go into particulars with them, but telling them, gosh, it just seems like for the last month or so, I've just struggled. Maybe you all are not like that. I've kind of went through some battles, and it's not that I've asked the Lord, hey, Lord, where you at? But it's almost to the point that I've battled the Lord and saying, I don't know about this now. I'm not, you're putting me in a place here I don't want to be, Lord. I'm struggling with this, and and then kind of arguing with the Lord on directions in my life. And so we go through that, right? But there was something else, and we know that God cares, and they asked Christ, do you not care that we perish? But there was something else that Tommy brought up, and it stuck with me. And I thought, shame on Jody, because over the last a few weeks, months too, that I've kind of went through my own little struggles. Tommy brought out the benefits. When you're traveling with someone, what's the benefits of it? And he talked about even sports teams and who you're going to be playing with. What's the benefits? When you go to work for somebody, what's the benefits? And he talked about safe passage too. With that, the first point he brought up, but the second one was fellowship. And man, how often do we forget that no matter what we're going through, that we have fellowship with Christ? It may seem like he's in the back of the ship on a pillow asleep. It doesn't mean he doesn't care. He's still in control, and he's still on the boat with us. He's still riding along right with us, and we have that fellowship with him. He is there. And then the other thing that he brought up that I really love is know who you're traveling with. Man, that is so good. And not just to know about him, but we have to know him. Know with quotation marks, as in an intimate way, and having that relationship with Christ. So do you know him today? That's something that I've asked myself from the message Sunday is, I know him. And the benefits of me knowing him and traveling with him is the fellowship. He's not left me when I'm tired, when I'm scared, when I'm worn down, when I'm struggling, when I'm in the midst of a battle. He's there, and that fellowship's still there. So I want to ask you that today. If you don't know him personally, in an intimate way, he wants to know you. He loves you, and he's there waiting on you. He's crying out to you, and he wants you to come to him. So I hope you all got something from that today, and know that there's a benefit of passing over with him and knowing him personally, and that's safe passage, and that's fellowship. So I hope you guys have a great day. Hope you have a great rest of the week. I love each and every one of you. God bless you. Remember to pray for me, and as always, I'm praying for you. God bless.